Foreign Affairs Secretary Teodoro Locsin says the country has fired off a diplomatic protest against China over the alleged swarming of Chinese vessels around the Pag-asa Island.
But for Senator Joel Villanueva, DFA Secretary Locsin must publish the contents of the diplomatic protest. JC Cosico with the report.
Foreign Affairs Chief Teodoro Locsin tweeted that he had already sent a diplomatic protest against the presence of Chinese vessels around Pag-asa Island. National Security Advisor Jimenez Esperon said that some 113 Chinese boats were seen in the vicinity of the island last July 24 and 25. He also confirmed that Chinese warships sailed along Cebu Strait of Tawi-Tawi 2 months ago without informing the Philippines. Esperon added that the Manila had sent a note verbal to Beijing regarding this incident.
Meron na tayong diplomatic protest on that, and then we simply have to, alam mo, sa totoo lang, meron naman tayong relation sa military to military and ambassador to ambassador. So, pwede nating pag-usapan ulit yan na it's a common practice and customary for military assets. When they pass, we simply have to get diplomatic clearance.
Senior Associate Justice Antonio Carpio believes that filing a diplomatic protest versus China is the right move, noting that the Chinese must recognize and respect our territory.
So I think we should protest that because that is our territorial sea. The tribunal said there's a territorial sea around Pag-asa and they cannot, first of all, those fishing ships, fishing vessels of China cannot enter a territorial sea to loiter. If they want to pass through, they have to pass through under innocent passage rule. That means they have to pass in a continuous and expeditious straight line. They cannot loiter. That's prohibited because it's a territorial sea.
Meanwhile, Senator Joel Villanueva calls on Locsin to also reveal the contents of the protest, especially with National Security Advisor Esperon raising the alarm on threats to our country's national security. Senator Risa Ontiveros also hit the administration's so-called doormat foreign policy. She's urging Duterte to put his foot down and officially bring this matter to the Chinese government. Earlier, Defense Chief Delfin Lorenzana called China a bully for its aggression. Cabinet officials have chosen to stick to diplomatic channels in dealing with China. President Duterte has repeatedly said that war is not an option. Esperon shares the same sentiment.
Hindi mo madadala sa military action. Ang problema ay yung pagdaan. Yes, sir. Ay wala naman pinutukan.
Duterte has turned towards its East Asian neighbor ever since he took office. Despite the pivot, aggression by the Chinese in the country's waters persists. Arguably the most infamous one was the ramming of a Filipino boat in Recto Bank. For News 5, JC Cosico, we are One News.